Okay, I've got the guys together to talk about extremely hot altcoins. Thank you for smashing the like. And if you need help understanding the crypto cycles, understanding which coins have the highest potential, then hit that subscribe. I want to briefly highlight that I'm going to be doing a coaching event with Ashley. We're going to be talking about skips, and I'm going to be unfolding my top indicators and how to spot reversals, when to enter and exit into long-term skip and leap plays. It's a boot camp. I'm going to leave a link for that in the top pinned comment. This may be a one-off, one-only event, and it's right around the corner. Don't miss out. It's going to be a deep dive into charting and a deep dive into investing strategies with options. Don't miss out on that. Okay, welcome to the show. Mark, real quick, tell me a real quick review of where we're at in the altcoin season.
Yeah, I think that we've seen Bitcoin dominance break down, and that chart, I don't know if you got the Bitcoin dominance chart there, Josh, that you can bring up, but it broke down on around the 7th of May. It topped out there at about 65 odd percent, and it bottomed down just recently on around I believe it was the 14th of May there. It found a bottom there, and there was a bit of a rally into Bitcoin. Alts cooled off a bit, and then we're starting to see it come down. So there might be a lower high there being created in Bitcoin dominance. So I think altcoin season, started obviously when Bitcoin dominance started to break down on the 7th of May. There was a clear breakdown there. We made we ended up making obviously a lower low, and there could be a higher low coming in here as well, and that could see a continuation there. Now, the alt seasons within this cycle have lasted on average about 60 days each time. The smallest one being around 30 odd days, and the largest being around 100 days. And so we've seen some great upside for altcoins. Sui jumped from about $1.70 all the way up to over $4. The tens of Tau, one of my personal favorites, went up from around $180 odd dollars, almost up to $500. In fact, on Coinbase, it's over $500. There's a bit of a premium arbitrage opportunity there. If you sell on Coinbase, there you'll get a little bit more bang for your Tau. And so I think it's just been about being in the right altcoins, because I feel that Pump.Fun came in at the beginning of January of somewhere between January and March of 2024. Previous to that, in 2023, 2022, there were only thousands of altcoins. As soon as Pump.Fun came out and all these meme coins were launched, the number of altcoins has now gone into the millions. And there's just simply not enough capital to go around to have what I believe will be what we have seen in the past, where we've seen just kind of like everything pumps. And I just don't think we're going to see that again unless there is some kind of regulation that comes out and really narrows down that altcoin number heavily to a more acceptable number for the liquidity that's in the market. Okay, so I think being in the right altcoins is important, and I think we've been in the right altcoins. Sui obviously has been a great star of this bull run, has continued to be so as well. So I just think being in the right projects is really key at the right times as well.
Mark, would you say that based on what you're talking about with the liquidity, that it would lean towards having a shorter altcoin season, or do you think it's not related?
That's a really good question. And previous to where we saw Pump.Fun came in, that was when we had that 100-day alt season. And it kind of topped out, I think, around March. And the alt seasons, the alt pumps have been shorter in length. And so I think it's too early to say. We don't have enough data to say, okay, is this now going to lead to shortening, alt season pumps, which are a lot shorter in nature, but it quite possibly could be. The last pump that we had was only around just over 30 days. This one so far, and we're going to see if this one continues or not, to see if Bitcoin dominance does make a lower high here, and if it does and continues, then I think we see a continuation. But if Bitcoin dominance from here starts to continue up and then makes a higher high, obviously that this alt season would be over, and it would be over around between, I would have to do the exact day count, but somewhere between 30 and 40 days, which would again be on the short side of what we've seen historically for alt seasons.
I love it. Hey, Tim, we do not have to agree here. We
Mhm.
want dynamic conversation. I'm curious your thoughts on where we're at in the alt season and what can we
Yeah.
expect in the days ahead from some of our favorite altcoin projects.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who watched the live stream with the three of us there at the end, there's a little bit of like, okay, there's real good tussle back and forth between Mark and Tim. I
Yeah.
really don't think that Mark and Tim, and I'm speaking myself in the third person here, I don't think we're really on too much different of brainwaves. We have different words we're using, we have different definitions. I think something to point out is he's absolutely right. What we're watching happen right now on the Bitcoin dominance chart, there is a slightly lower high being put in. And I'm of the opinion that I'm going to need to see Bitcoin dominance probably get back below 60% before I would declare alt season. And some people aren't going to like that because they're going to say, Tim, by that time, we're already seeing it go parabolic. Well, in the same way, when you have a formation in play, if you have a, let's call it a falling channel, sticking with us, are you sure about your breakout until you break through the resistance level?
Mm,
You're not sure about your breakout until then.
I love it.
But technically, the bottom was all the way down at the support level. Well, what you want to see before you declare things, in my opinion, is confirmation moves. And right now, the Bitcoin dominance, while it is going lower from that 65%, I'm going to need to see a significant confirmation move to call it altcoin season. But where that's a difference of opinion, different definition things. But let's talk about where I'm in agreement with what things Mark is saying. Let's just talk about altcoins in general. Forget the term altcoin season, forget the term Bitcoin season. Should you be buying altcoins? Yes, you should. I believe that the altcoin bottoms are in. And even I love what he said about pick the right coins. Yeah, like not every coin is going to make it. But right now, the top 20%, the top 20 coins make up roughly 90, last time I checked, I think it's 94, 95% of the total crypto market cap. Well, of course, Bitcoin's up there. So Bitcoin is taking right now 64%, which means we have about 30%, the majority of what's left. We only have 36%. Of the 36% left over from Bitcoin, the top 20 coins represent 30% of that. Those are going to be the ones that make the biggest rallies and make people the safest big money. Of course, you're going to find a little meme coin that pumps 50x in a week. Those are hard to choose. But when you look at the coins like Chainlinks, like Ondos, like AVAX, like Cardano and Solana and XRP, even Ethereum, these are the coins that I think are the right things to be investing in. And what you should know is, even though it's not altcoin season in terms of the Bitcoin dominance plummeting, I will tell people right now, you asked, should I buy Bitcoin or should I buy Cardano? Cardano will outpace Bitcoin from here on out. If you ask Bitcoin or Chainlink will outpace Bitcoin. So it's not an issue of saying don't buy altcoins. People absolutely should be loading up their bags with altcoins right now. It is an issue of saying, all right, when will the money flow shift from being so dominantly flowing into Bitcoin and instead flow into altcoins and see a massive parabolic run on altcoins? That's not here yet, but you don't want to wait for that to be clear. You want to be invested. You want to find your selections. You want to pick the real world assets and layer ones and AI plays that are very intriguing right now in the non altcoin season so that you lock in your profitability when the true altcoin season starts.
I love it. Well, I'm going to give you guys my micro version is that we have already begun to come up off our lows and we're moving very, very quickly. And every single day that we get closer to the top of some of these, you're going to have a lower return. Okay. So I would tell you that I believe that between June, the month of May, I've been saying for a long time, we're going to continue higher. And so far, all through the month of May, we're keep pushing higher. And I said the first week of June. Now, I think that we're going to see sideways action in the summer, which means that we're not going to have a huge reason to sell off and crash. And so it's going to be a lot of rotation. And in the summer is when I believe that we're going to see more money flood into the alts because we're going to begin to see rotation there as well. We're going to see money come back out of the Magnificent Seven and go into other plays. We'll see them drift off their tops after they hit their pivot 1 and pivot 2s. We're going to see the same thing with crypto. We're going to see money coming out of Bitcoin and we're going to see it going to continue to rise with low volume, but we're going to see it flood into the alts. And I largely believe that we're going to see the majority of that in the month of June and July. And so you want to have a little bit of a take profit plan because it's all not going to go up forever. And I agree with what Tim said, that you're going to get your biggest gains, not at this point from Bitcoin, but from the alts. But the alts, when the season is over, are going to take the biggest hit. And so if you aren't using a stop loss right now, you need to have a strategy of just simply taking profit. And you're going to feel like everything's just going to keep going. But everybody knows that when we get to greed and extreme greed, that's when you need to be cashing in. We were at fear here in March and April, and it was time to buy. We're going to end up getting to the other side of that scale, and we're going to need to take some profits. So tell me in the comments section, which coins do you think are going to have the biggest run? I haven't shared this in a while, but I'm going to remind you guys of what are the three large factors that determine the value of any crypto project. You've got tech, you've got tribe, and you've got regulation. So obviously there are cryptos that are entirely based on the technology, but they lack popularity, they lack proper messaging, and they basically burn out over time. There's a lot of projects that are really, really good technology, but they haven't been able to compete in the world of fast-moving tech. And we know that from each cycle, new tech companies emerge with new ideas based on new innovation, and the old tech companies are trying to work out a problem that's already been solved with new tech. And so you cannot base your crypto investments entirely on technology. Then you've got tribe. What's tribe? That's the tribal flag. That's the meme coin world where it's got popularity. And anywhere there's a crowd, that's where the influence and the money lies. And so what can happen is when technology unites with the tribe, and it can do something like we're talking about Elon doing with the X platform, bringing and really addressing Tim's commentary of who's behind it. A lot of people. Dogecoin is the Bitcoin of the meme coin space, and I think it will continue to hold that number one spot, and it can be used. And it doesn't have the problem that WorldCoin has. Mark brought up the fact that WorldCoin is primarily held by a small group of people. 80+% of all the tokens are in their pockets. But Dogecoin was created and it's thrived and it can be steered, and all of that's been distributed. It's the meme coins can become the crypto of the people because it's more palatable and doesn't come with the manipulation that a project like the WorldCoin might come. And so there's this delicate balance between tribe and tech. But there's another factor, and it's the third factor that balances them all out, and that's regulation. That's government stepping in and interfering with it. If we lived in a perfect world where tech and tribe could kind of coexist and balance themselves out, Elon already would have put Dogecoin on the X platform, but he has to get that past regulation, and he hasn't wanted to do it and get shut down. But because he is tied in with President Trump, there is the opportunity that he possibly could squeeze that through. And so you have these factors: technology, tribe, and regulation. And these projects, all of them have to be measured against that. And that's why I like Dogecoin, because I believe it's got potential in its balance of those three factors. And the technology part is the partnership with Elon. And so that's how these meme coins will thrive in the years to come. Let me quickly show you the chart, and we're going to then move on to our next.
I guess the question will be whether it is Doge or another, because in X, they've got the Solana wallet, and X has the partnership with Visa, and Visa has the partnership with Solana. So I don't think it's a given that it'll be Dogecoin. It quite possibly could, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's another cryptocurrency either. That's one to keep an eye on.
I agree with you 100%. The race hasn't been won yet, but I do think that Elon, he already has a lot of heat. You got people over there with the keys scraping those Teslas, and I can tell you right now that if he dumps Doge, I might have to go find me some keys, find something to scrape. There's gonna be protest. There's gonna be blood in the street. I got that Doge mind frame. Let's go jump real quick into the chart. I just want to say this, guys. We have really kind of a cup and handle potential forming here. This has been a nice, decline and a slow reversal. We've got all sorts of patterns here. We've got an inverted head and shoulders pattern, And basically what we're looking for now is a breakout of this 25 with an immediate target of 31, right? And a secondary target of 39. Now this can go higher. I see this having the potential to easily get up to 50 cents, but I'm not going to hype you up on 50 cents. I'm going to tell you that what is attractive right now is this move from 25 to 31. I'm bringing Doge back to your guys' attention because largely I believe that it's getting ready to move, and I wanted you guys to be prepared for that. Why am I focused back on alts? Because alts are back on the move, and this is where some money is going to be made. Thank you guys for joining me today and talking about these and sharing your expertise. Remember to go over to each of their pages. You've got Mark from Tribal Trades, and you've got Tim from Investing Bros. I'll leave a link for both of their YouTube pages in the description of this video. Peace and blessings, my friends. Thanks for joining me today.